According to the Federation of American Scientists, an organization that assesses nuclear weapon stockpiles, as of 2017, the Russian Federation possesses 7,300 total nuclear warheads, of which 4,500 are strategically operational. This is in large part due to the special bomber counting rules allowed by the treaty, which counts each strategic nuclear bomber as one warhead irrespective of the number of warheads, gravity bombs and / or cruise missiles carried by the aircraft. The figures are, by necessity, only estimates because the exact number of nuclear weapons in each country's possession is a closely held national secret. In addition to nuclear weapons, Russia declared an arsenal of 39,967 tons of chemical weapons in 1997. The Soviet Union ratified the Geneva Protocol on April 5, 1928 with reservations. The reservations were dropped on January 18, 2001. Russia is also party to the Biological Weapons Convention and the Chemical Weapons Convention. The Soviet Union had a peak stockpile of 45,000 nuclear warheads in 1986. It is estimated that from 1949 to 1991, the Soviet Union produced approximately 55,000 nuclear warheads. Nuclear weapons. History. Post-Soviet era. At the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, Soviet nuclear weapons were deployed in 4 of the new republics: Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. In May 1992, these 4 states signed the Lisbon Protocol, agreeing to join the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, with Russia the successor state to the Soviet Union as a nuclear state, and the other 3 states joining as non-nuclear states. Ukraine agreed to give up its weapons to Russia, in exchange for guarantees of Ukrainian territory from Russia, the UK, and the USA, known as the Budapest Memorandum on Security Assurances. China and France also made statements in support of the memorandum. Nuclear arsenal of Russia. The exact number of nuclear warheads is a state secret and is therefore a matter of guesswork. The Federation of American Scientists estimates that Russia possesses 4,300 nuclear warheads, while the US has 4,000. Russia has 1,950 active strategic nuclear warheads, compared with the US having 1,650. On the other hand, Russia is estimated to have roughly 1,500 tactical nuclear weapons, all of which are declared to be in central storage. The Rs-28 Sarma, Russian, 28, NATO reporting name, Satan II, is a Russian liquid-fueled, MIRV-equipped, super-heavy thermonuclear-armed intercontinental ballistic missile in development by the Makarov Rocket Design Bureau from 2009, intended to replace the previous R-36 missile. Its large payload would allow for up to 10 heavy warheads or 15 lighter ones or up to 24 hypersonic glide vehicles U-71, or a combination of warheads and massive amounts of countermeasures designed to defeat anti-missile systems. It was heralded by the Russian military as a response to the U.S. prompt global strike. In 2015, information emerged that Russia may be developing a new nuclear torpedo, up to 100 megatons, the Status 6 Ocean Multipurpose System, codenamed Kenyan by Pentagon officials. This weapon is designed to create a tsunami wave up to 500 m tall that will radioactively contaminate a wide area on an enemy coasts with cobalt-60, and to be immune to anti-missile defense systems such as laser weapons and railguns that might disable an ICBM. 2 potential carrier submarines, the Project 09852 Belgorod, and the Project 09851 Khabarovsk, are new boats laid down in 2012 and 2014 respectively. Status 6 appears to be a deterrent weapon of last resort. It appears to be a torpedo-shaped robotic mini-submarine, that can travel at speeds of 185 km per hour, 100 knots. More recent information suggests a top speed of 100 km per hour, 54 knots, with a range of 10,000 km, 6,200 miles, and a depth maximum of 1,000 m, 3,300 feet. This underwater drone is cloaked by stealth technology to elude acoustic tracking devices. During an annual State of the Nation address given on March 1, 2018, President Putin publicly claimed that Russia was now in possession of several new classes of nuclear weapons, including some with capabilities previously speculated to exist. Putin discussed several new or upgraded weapons, including an intercontinental missile known as the Avangard, capable of performing sharp maneuvers while traveling at 20 times the speed of sound, making it absolutely invulnerable for any missile defense system. Putin also discussed the existence of a nuclear-powered underwater torpedo and a nuclear-powered cruise missile, both with effectively unlimited range. He also discussed that Russia had tested a new class of traditional ICBM called the Sarma, which expanded upon the range and carrying capability of the Soviet-era Satan ICBM. Animations of these weapons were shown in front of the live and televised audience, and Putin suggested that an online poll be conducted to give them official public names. Nuclear weapons in Russian military doctrine. According to a Russian military doctrine stated in 2010, nuclear weapons could be used by Russia in response to the use of nuclear and other types of weapons of mass destruction against it or its allies, and also in case of aggression against Russia with the use of conventional weapons when the very existence of the state is threatened. Nuclear proliferation. After the Korean War, the Soviet Union transferred nuclear technology and weapons to the People's Republic of China as an adversary of the United States and NATO. According to Ion Mihai Pacepa, Khrushchev's nuclear proliferation process started with Communist China in April 1955, when the new ruler in the Kremlin consented to supply Beijing a sample atomic bomb and to help with its mass production. Subsequently, the Soviet Union built all the essentials of China's new military nuclear industry. Russia is one of the 5 nuclear weapons states, NWS, under the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, which Russia ratified, as the Soviet Union, in 1968. Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, a number of Soviet-era nuclear warheads remained on the territories of Belarus, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. Under the terms of the Lisbon Protocol to the NPT, and following the 1995 trilateral agreement between Russia, Belarus, and the USA, these were transferred to Russia, leaving Russia as the sole inheritor of the Soviet nuclear arsenal. It is estimated that the Soviet Union had approximately 45,000 nuclear weapons stockpiled at the time of its collapse. The collapse of the Soviet Union allowed for a warming of relations with NATO. Fears of a nuclear holocaust lessened. In September 1997, the former secretary of the Russian Security Council Alexander Lebed claimed 100 suitcase-sized nuclear weapons were unaccounted for. He said he was attempting to inventory the weapons when he was fired by President Boris Yeltsin in October 1996. Indeed, several U.S. politicians have expressed worries and promised legislation addressing the threat. In 2002, the United States and Russia agreed to reduce their stockpiles to not more than 2,700 warheads each in the SORT treaty. In 2003, the U.S. rejected Russian proposals to further reduce each nation's nuclear stockpiles to 1,500. Russia, in turn, refused to discuss reduction of tactical nuclear weapons. There were allegations that Russia contributed to North Korean nuclear program, selling it the equipment for the safe storage and transportation of nuclear materials. Nevertheless, Russia condemned Korean nuclear tests since then. According to high-ranking Russian SVR defector Sergei Tretyakov, a businessman told him that he keeps his own nuclear bomb at his dacha outside Moscow. Nuclear sabotage allegations from Russia. The highest-ranking GRU defector Stanislav Lunat described alleged Soviet plans for using tactical nuclear weapons for sabotage against the United States in the event of war. He described Soviet-made suitcase nukes identified as RA-115S, or RA-115-01S for submersible weapons, which weigh from 50 to 60 pounds, 23 kilograms, 27 kilograms. These portable bombs can last for many years if wired to an electric source. In case there is a loss of power, there is a battery backup. If the battery runs low, the weapon has a transmitter that sends a coded message either by satellite or directly to a GRU post at a Russian embassy or consulate. Luna was personally looking for hiding places for weapons caches in the Shenandoah Valley area. He said that it is surprisingly easy to smuggle nuclear weapons into the U.S. either across the Mexican border or using a small transport missile that can slip though undetected when launched from a Russian airplane. Searches of the areas identified by Luna, who admits he never planted any weapons in the U.S., have been conducted, but law enforcement officials have never found such weapons caches, with or without portable nuclear weapons in the U.S. Biological weapons. Soviet program of biological weapons was initially developed by the Ministry of Defense of the Soviet Union, between 1945 and 1973. The Soviet Union signed the Biological Weapons Convention on April 10, 1972 and ratified the treaty on March 26, 1975. However, it subsequently augmented its biowarfare programs. After 1975, the program of biological weapons was run primarily by the civilian Biopreparat Agency, although it also included numerous facilities run by the Soviet Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Chemical Industry, Ministry of Health, and Soviet Academy of Sciences. According to Ken Alibek, who was Deputy Director of Biopreparat, the Soviet Biological Weapons Agency, and who defected to the United States in 1992, weapons were developed in labs in isolated areas of the Soviet Union, including mobilization facilities at Omutinsk, Penza, and Pokrov, and research facilities at Moscow, Sturgy, and Vladimir. These weapons were tested at several facilities, most often at Rebirth Island, Vozrozhdeniya, in the Aral Sea, by firing the weapons into the air above monkeys tied to posts. The monkeys would then be monitored to determine the effects. According to Alibek, although Soviet offensive program was officially ended in 1992, Russia may be still involved in the activities prohibited by BWC. In 1993, the story about the Sverdlovsk anthrax leak was published in Russia. The incident occurred when spores of anthrax were accidentally released from a military facility in the city of Sverdlovsk, formerly, and now again, Ekaterinburg, 1,500 kilometers, 930 miles, east of Moscow on April 2, 1979. The ensuing outbreak of the disease resulted in 94 people becoming infected, 64 of whom died over a period of 6 weeks. Chemical weapons. Russia signed the Chemical Weapons Convention on January 13, 1993, and ratified it on November 5, 1997. Russia declared an arsenal of 39,967 tons of chemical weapons in 1997, consisting of blister agents, Lewisite, mustard, Lewisite mustard mix, HL. Nerve agents, sarin, Samin, VX. Ratification was followed by 3 years of inaction on chemical weapons destruction because of the August 1998 Russian financial crisis. Russia met its treaty obligations by destroying 1% of its chemical agents by the Chemical Weapons Convention's 2002 deadline, but requested technical and financial assistance and extensions on the deadlines of 2004 and 2007 due to the environmental challenges of chemical disposal. This extension procedure spelled out in the treaty has been utilized by other countries, including the United States. The extended deadline for complete destruction, April 2012, was not met. As of October 2011, Russia has destroyed 57% of its stockpile. Russia also destroyed all of its declared Category 2, 10,616 MTS, and Category 3 chemicals. Russia has stored its chemical weapons, or the required chemicals, which it declared within the CWC at 8 locations, in Gorny, Saratov Oblast, 2.9% of the declared stockpile by mass, and Kambarka, Udmurt Republic, 15.9%, stockpiles already have been destroyed. In Chuchai, Kurgan Oblast, 13.6%, Muradaikovsky, Kirov Oblast, 17.4%, and Leonidovka, Penza Oblast, 17.2%, destruction takes place, while installations are under construction in Pochap, Bryansk Oblast, 18.8%, and Kisner, Udmurt Republic, 14.2%. On September 27, 2017, OPCW announced that Russia had destroyed its entire chemical weapons stockpile. Novichok agents. A range of Novichok agents were developed and tested in the 1970s and 1980s, but the intended Novichok weapons production site at the Pavlodar chemical plant in Soviet Kazakhstan was still under construction when it was decided to demolish the chemical weapons building in 1987 in view of the forthcoming Chemical Weapons Convention. Disposal facilities. Russia has a number of factories for destruction of its chemical weapons arsenal: Gorny in Saratov Oblast, Kambarka in Udmurtia, Leonidovka Penza Oblast, Muradaikovsky in Kirov Oblast, Shchuchai in Kurgan Oblast, and the latest one Pochep in the Bryansk Oblast, 70 km from the border with Ukraine, built with funds from Italy in accordance with the agreement signed between the two countries. The last Russian chemical disposal facility in Kisner, Udmurtia, was opened on December 2013.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.